creative friends, my name is Joee Balestrieri. Welcome to my work table. Last night I unboxed a collaboration bead box that I have worked on with Stella of Didi Beads, and I unboxed it during a really bad storm. It's a pretty good video, but you can really hear the thunder, and it was really stormy. Perfect night for beading and working, on my jewelry pieces. So I can link that video below if you didn't see the unboxing. And I'm kind of hoping that by the time this design video is on YouTube that it will be sold out, because of course that's our goal. And we are watching the response from the followers of the Didi Beads website on Facebook, as well as the members of this YouTube community, to kind of see if we should make more of our future boxes. And we're new at collaborating, so that's what's going on. But if you did not get the box, this is something that you can definitely get a lot of design ideas and techniques from. So I encourage you to stay with me and watch the video, because this is going to be a full jewelry set. A really cool necklace, really unique earrings, and a stunning bracelet. And it's going to be using all the techniques, a little bit of crimping, a little bit of wire work, a little bit of knotting, some stringing, and I really think that even a beginner could dive into these projects. Nothing is hard, just a little bit unique. And so I'm going to just give you a fast overview of what my plan is. So to start off with, the first thing I'm going to do is a really simple pair of earrings. These are having a moment for me to do what I call head pin earrings. It's all one piece. The head pin that my beads are strung on also becomes the ear wire, and we're going to do that first because that is super quick. The other thing that I plan to do is a really stunning bracelet using the lampwork beads that came in the box, and they have a really big hole, as well as these gorgeous rondelle pearls that came in the box. So if you don't have these beads and you want to do this, that's my advice, is to go into your stash and pull out the beads with the larger holes, because it will make the stringing much easier. I've also chosen my clasps. This is going to be my clasp for the bracelet, and then I'm going to do a magnetic clasp for the necklace. And if you've been around my channel at all, you know that I really love seed beads. I have a pretty good collection of the various sizes, and I have gone into my seed bead stash. Look at this seed bead, you guys. I had this in my stash. It is, I don't even know where I got this. It looks like it might be Eureka crystals. I'm not sure. I buy a lot of seed beads from Potomac Beads as well, but the inside color is a rainbow light topaz, and it's sea foamed lined, and these are 8/0 seed beads. But look at, I'm just going to lay this bead right in the middle. Look at that. It's a perfect match. It almost looks like they were custom created for each other. So those are going to go in my bracelet. And in the box we had two of these beautiful slider beads, with the 2-hole connectors, really ornate, just beautiful, with a I wanted to say crystal, but it's like a rhinestone in the middle. And so I'm going to do one of those in my bracelet, and then I have already designed my necklace and kind of made a start using the other one for the necklace, putting that slider as kind of the focal point. And then I'm going to do something really cool with the lines of this necklace. I'm trying to come up with the right words, because it's going to like really shift its design from like multi-strand into single strand. So I'm going to set this aside. That's going to be the last of the 3 projects. And let's see, what else do I want to share? Oh, we called this box Sienna Shores, and so I decided to pull in some natural like seashell elements, and I don't know what's going to make it onto my bracelet, but I have laid out here some of these electroplated seashells that I ordered from Amazon, and I think they're going to be the drops and dangles. I also had this little set of sea-themed charms from Amazon, and they have like a little bit of sparkle to them. And I can put links in the description box of anything that I end up using in case you're interested. And what else? Let me not forget. Oh, I had these in my stash, these little electroplated cowrie shells. I lost the name of the cowrie shells. I'm a little bit excited because, as I said, I unboxed and kind of set up my mat during the storm last night, and then I felt like I needed to wait till today to start working, but I'm really ready to start working. I am mixing copper. The little beads in the box had a copper wash, and our crystals kind of have that coppery, that deep peach, kind of another version of our Pantone color of the year. So I think that I may be mixing in some copper crystal rondelle spacers that I had in my stash. And then back to the seed beads. I went shopping in my own seed bead stash, and I don't know what I will be using. This is where I wish that some of you creative minds were sitting here with me to help me decide, because I could go into this copper and gold mix. It looks great with everything. I also thought about going to the lighter version of the crystals and making it really peachy. And then there's always just the classic little champagne gold, which is really neutral and soft and pretty and looks great with the new taupe color in those pearls. So they are here, and when I start stringing the necklace, I will dive into that and decide. So one more thing before I get started. I have ordered these little charms already done, electroplated, from Amazon, and I do like them, and they're like quick and easy. The loops are already there and the electroplating goes over the whole thing, and I do like them. But if you want to do a DIY version of that, you can take a seashell that you have found on the beach. I even, for people, because I know I have viewers all over the world, for people who don't live where they can go collect their own shells and natural elements, I will put a link in the description box for like a little assortment of seashells from Amazon that you can play with your jewelry. But you can do a DIY sort of electroplated charms, and it's super easy. This is also an Amazon find. These are chrome markers in a metallic gold, and they're double tipped. There's paint inside, and you just shake them. And I usually just take a scrap piece of plastic out of my trash bin, and there's a skinny tip on one end and there is a fatter tip on the other end, and you shake and then prime a little bit on plastic. Come up here so you can see, and get that paint flowing. And this is super simple. You just take your seashell, and like, I love the cowrie shells because wherever there's a little natural shape, the gold paint just like falls right into those lines and highlights them. It's super simple. Takes a couple seconds. It's not messy. I'm typically a really messy painter, but this is just super easy. And so you can let it dry, and then you can go back over it if you want your line to be fatter, or if you want more gold, or if you missed anything. Super easy. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you would like to give this a try. I'm going to set this over here to dry and get the cap back on my pen. And like I say, I'll link all of this in the description box if there's any of this that you're interested in playing with in your own designs. So I'm going to dive into these little earrings. These are so easy to do. So I am just taking a copper ball head pin, and I just literally stacked 3 of the beads from the box until I was happy with it. And it is a good idea to, these are pretty straight, but it is a good idea to have nylon jaw pliers and just make sure you're starting with a really nice straight wire. And let me show you my head pins too, because this is something that I really like. These are from Potomac Beads, and these have a really high quality antique copper plating. They are 2-inch ball head pins, and I believe these are from their Athena cast line. It's a really great line of high quality metal findings for jewelry makers. So the way that you do this is, I'm going to start with my bent chain nose pliers, or any chain nose plier, and I'm going to come just a little bit above the crystal bead, like a millimeter of space, and I'm going to give that like a 45-degree bend to what I want to be the front of the earring. And then I'm going to get a bail making plier, and I like this smaller barrel. I think this is like a 5mm barrel. It doesn't so much matter really. You're actually creating your ear wire, and I'm going to get my earring in this bail making plier just like that. Let me turn it to this angle so you can see. And this is one simple movement. I am just going to wrap that head pin over the barrel and toward the back of my earring. And then when I take it away, essentially my earring is done. And then I like to use a flat nose plier just because of that measurement right there. And I'm going to get a hold of the end of that wire that I just bent and just kick it out. Just makes a little ear wire, and that earring is done. I have done a couple of videos recently with this type of earring, and I just love it. It's so simple. It's just so easy to do. One and done, instant gratification, and really it's just having fun stacking your beads. And believe me, this sits perfectly in your piercing. It's amazing how nice the ear wire is this way. Now these head pins are not sharp at all, and I don't feel like I really need to do anything, but you could take a little file like this. I have a little set of file and reamer tools. Let me find the file part. Here. You could take a little file like this, any kind of a, and like just smooth out the ends. Or I also have a tool that I love. This is a battery operated bead reamer that has this little cup attachment, and you can put that over the end of your wire and just round it off. I honestly could skip that step because these head pins, they're not sharp at all. But those earrings are done. If you have gifts to make or you do craft fairs, honestly, you could sit and make these like crazy. I think you could really make a lot of money with these sweet little earrings. And so I'm gonna just repeat the same exact steps on my second earring. Okay, the first part of my little jewelry set is done. I love it. I'm so excited. And I'm going to dive into the bracelet next. And as I said, we're going to be mixing all the techniques, a little knotting, a little stringing. So I have some 0.5 millimeter Brazilian waxed cord. It's made in Brazil. This is just from my stash. You can check Didi Beads' website for some waxed cord. Also, Lima Beads is a great source for waxed cord. This is just in my stash and I don't even know the color. And I have taken a lot more than I need because I'm going to be knotting this bracelet, and a knotting technique eats up a lot of length of cord. So I don't even know. I have probably, let's see, 24, I probably have 48 inches or so, maybe even a little more of this cord. And I'm going to start by attaching it to this little toggle clasp. So let me get the jump ring open. I am going to attach with a jump ring. So I want to make sure I'm going to attach my cord to this jump ring. So I want to make sure that it is closed perfectly so that, I don't lose anything. And so what I've done is folded this long length of waxed cord in half. Let me pull out of the camera just for one moment to organize myself and show you how I'm going to start my bracelet. I'm going to match up these two ends and go through the jump ring on my clasp. And now I'm going to pull this so that I have 4 strands now and gather them all together. I'm going to make it so that they're even on the other end. I know it's a little bit long. And right here, I am just going to start with an overhand knot with all 4 cords. And then you do not need a tool. I always say you don't need a tool to do a knotting technique, but I always use one. I just love my knotting tweezer. If you are not familiar with this technique, a knotting tweezer is just a really teeny tipped long tweezer. It's like a precision tip, and it just helps you to place your knots exactly where you want them. And especially when you're dealing with this many cords, that because I'm going to be stringing with 4 cords, it's really helpful to maintain control. So once you've done your overhand knot and you have that loop, you just reach inside, and wherever you grab your cord, that is where your knot will land. So I'm just going to give this a pull, and you can see the knot goes right to the tip of the tweezer, and then I can use the tweezer and pull a little bit and just get that knot secure and perfect. So I love my knotting tweezer. Now I have 4 strands, and I'm going to come down to this end and cut this loop. And let me trim a little bit as well. And from here, I can decide if I want to separate these strands or start out with all of them together. So here's where the pattern play and playing with the beads just really, is fun. So I'm going to start out, I think, with one of these little pearls, and let's see, do I want to flank it with anything? Okay. I found these little discs with a nice hole, and they're really nice and thin, and they look great in between the pearls. So now I am just going to string a little pattern and decide where I want to put my knots. I love the Brazilian waxed cord for its fluidity. When you make a bracelet or a necklace with this cord, it's just very malleable, and it just like flows so beautifully around the body. So I really love that, and look how gorgeous it is. And the color of your cord and your knot kind of acts as a spacer in between everything. So I think I am going to do another disc spacer on this little section, and then I'm going to switch to a technique that I have done in a couple of my other videos, but I love it so much. I'm going to do it on this bracelet with these beautiful lampwork beads, and these pearls are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just going to start with that little component, and that same thing again, just an overhand knot, and then I'm going to use my knotting tweezer and reach inside and grab a hold right where my cord is coming out of that little disc spacer. Before I commit to the knot, I just want to make sure that everything is nice and neat, and then just pull and tighten that knot down. So that's the start of my bracelet, and then I'm going to do a little seed bead bundle here. I'm going to separate these cords, all 4 of them, and string seed beads on all 4, and then pull them back together again into a cluster secured by another knot, and it kind of takes on the look of a beaded bead, and it's very dimensional and highly textural in a bracelet, and it's just so beautiful. As I said, if you've been around my channel, you might have seen me do this in other projects, but it's easy and it's stunning. And because I have these gorgeous seed beads that match so perfectly to my lampwork beads, I just couldn't help myself but do it in this bracelet. So I'm going to string all 4 of these strands with these 8/0 seed beads, and I'll show you what my next step is. Okay, so I have 10 seed beads on each of the 4 strands, and I'm going to repeat that same thing here. Just get an overhand knot in my cord and use my tweezer to get the knot right at the end of that bundle of seed beads, nice and tight. I just love the dimension of these little seed bead bundles. I like them like twisted and textural. I think that is so pretty. And then what I decided to do was to bring in a little lacy type bead cap to flank the 3 lampwork beads that are going to go onto this bracelet. So it's going to look like that, and I'm going to put all 4 strands through. The holes on the lampwork beads are really nice and large. And I'm just going to say here that I love this Brazilian waxed cord, but I have done these bracelets and necklaces with polyester cord from the craft store. It doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is the color of your cord going with your beads and the size of the cord for the bead holes that you're going to be working with. I like the Brazilian waxed cord because if you're not familiar with it, it has a light coating of wax on it, and you can actually make like a natural needle by pinching and twisting. You can also put some clear nail polish on this, or a little bit of super glue, and like pull it like that with some paper, or plastic to make a hard end. But I never do. I just use the wax that's already there. And so I'm just going to like gather up all 4 cords and make them go through this bead cap. And as you can see, I am not struggling to get things through the holes. So I'm going to pause here and come over to this little connector, and our seashell, the little seashell that I did at the beginning, is dry and it's ready for a jump ring. So if I decide that I want to use this as a charm, I can just find the little hole that's in it. It's right there, and just thread that jump ring right through. And a little DIY electroplated gold natural shell charm is ready in case I want to use it as a charm on my bracelet. So here's the difference. It looks good. It looks really good. I love those pins. They're really fun. You can do polka dots on glass beads or ceramic beads with it. If you have a bead with fluting, you can actually use it to make the bead look striped. They're really, really fun. Okay, so I'm going to use that same little piece of paper, and before I string this, I am going to coat it with my Permalac clear coating. This is super thin, much thinner than clear nail polish, although you can use clear nail polish. I have, let me just do this here and get my plier here. And I'm just going to brush a coating of this all over this connector just to keep it from tarnishing, because in a knotted design, you can't really repair something that has tarnished without cutting the thing apart. You can't like open a component and redo a component. The whole bracelet has to be cut apart. So I'm just going to put a nice coat, and as you can see, it doesn't cloud the crystals. It's really, really great, and it dries in just a couple of minutes. So that's all I'm going to do. I'll do the other one as well that's going to go into the necklace, and I can link this coating below. It really adds longevity and quality to your work. I just love it. It's the best product I have found. I've ordered a couple of other ones from Amazon and they don't work as well. So set that off to dry while I continue knotting. So I'm just going to do another overhand knot here. Okay, isn't it amazing that 2 strands of this wax cord actually go through those seed beads? So it's just going to be a little component like that, and I am going to continue stringing and knotting all the way to my desired length, and I'll be back to put the dangles on. Okay, I am finished and I am in love, absolutely in love with this bracelet, and I've decided to do something a little bit crazy on the end. I was actually trying it on to check for my length, and which I got perfect, by the way, and also to see if I wanted dangles, which I always want them, and where they would go. And so I went ahead and attached my 2 seashells to the toggle end, and I had the strands hanging down while I was, organizing myself, and I thought, how dramatic and lovely to have this boho beach like kind of fringiness just like dramatically hanging from this bracelet. So I decided to leave them. I'm also going to make a little grouping here with these cream colored bud beads. They're in the same color as the seashells, and I'm going to attach those right here. So I know that this is like a terrible camera angle. I'm not going to move the camera back, but I will definitely put some pictures that are better at the end. But let me show you what I did. So because I have 10 seed beads on each of these strands of my bundle, I just went with that again, and I just strung on 10 seed beads on each of the 4 strands and one of the little gold spacers. And since pearls come from the ocean, and this is the Sienna Shores box, I added pearls. And then I'm going to just use my knotting tweezer and separate all those little fibers at the end of each of the strands to make it fringy and tassely and boho beach chic. I love the seed beads with this lampwork bead, and I love the mixture of these copper pearls with the gold findings, some copper bead caps. It's just, this bracelet is just absolutely stunning. I love it. I don't even know what to say about it. I love it so much. So I'm going to show you really quickly what I did. I just took the copper head pins and strung on 1 seed bead, one of those little bud beads, and then a little spacer. And I'm using my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper. Many of you have seen me use this before. Just feed that ball head pin through the guide hole in the back of the tool, and then right here the tool makes a clean cut, so you can skip that step with your cutters. It makes the loop around the mandrel. I'm just going to pull my bead grouping down and close the tool. My loop is now centered, and I have a perfect simple loop that matches all the others in the design. Sometimes you have to go in and tidy up the loop. This one's perfect, so I don't have to. And then I'm just going to gather them all on a gold jump ring, again alternating gold and copper. And I am going to do my little trick for attaching charms. So I'm going to put this, let's see, I wanted it on this side. Okay, I'm going to put this jump ring around the entire circumference of my bracelet. So I'm not putting it like through an opening or through a loop. I'm putting it around the entire circumference, and this is my little trick for attaching your charms and floofies to your bracelets, because what happens then is your charm goes around your bracelet 360 degrees, moves totally freely. I did the same thing on the seashell one. So no matter which way you grab your bracelet and put it on, those don't ever get stuck or kinked on your wrist. They're always like really beautiful in your design. I got my length perfect. I am so in love with this bracelet. Oh my goodness. It's even really easy to clasp, but as everybody knows, you can never clasp your bracelet when the camera is rolling. It's a thing. And I've taken this on and off like 4 or 5 times when the camera was paused to organize myself. And now that it's rolling, you know, I have this situation. But so it looks like that with really long, dramatic dangles. I have my seashells there. And then this little grouping of the little buds is gathered up right here. So there is a lot of movement and a lot of dimension and texture and all different shapes, from rondelles to discs to seed beads to these beautiful fluted lampwork beads, a slider bead with a rhinestone. I mean, this bracelet is jewelry poetry. I'm so crazy about it. I will wear this all the time, and I equally love my earrings. So I'm going to set this aside, put the seed beads away, and start on this beautiful necklace, and this jewelry set will then be complete. And the necklace is fun. It's a really fast, easy stringing project. I'm going to be working with what you've already seen for the stringing on this necklace, but it is one of my long necklaces. I'm going to move everything out of the way. So I think I'm going to be doing an asymmetrical pattern. On one side, I'm going to do that. On the other side, maybe these. And let me just pull this up and kind of show you what I am playing with. So I am using Soft Flex Company's 49 strand. Metallics is this copper color that you see. It's their medium all-purpose beading wire. And you guys, this fluorite color, look at this with the colors in this box. Isn't it amazing? Let me get where there's no clear. Isn't that absolute perfection? So I chose that for my body of my necklace, and I'm going to be using the Soft Flex #2 crimp tubes as well. I have some of those here in this little dish, and I really love the tiny little bead that my magical crimping plier makes, so I'll be using that as well. This is all that I have left of the seed beads, and I brought in some more of my shell charms because I think they're going to be hanging down here. And because the colors of the Soft Flex bead stringing wire are so perfect with the beads in this collection, I'm going to probably do some areas where the bead stringing wire is exposed. So for that, I'm going to be using some flat crimps. Let me pull some of those out and show you what they look like. Okay, so flat crimp is just a teeny tiny little bead, and I'll just put some of them out here. I don't know how many I'll be using, and I'll show you what you do. It's super simple. It's like the easiest way to crimp because you literally just flatten it over the wire with your pliers. So I have some of those ready for when I start stringing, and I was just playing with all the possibilities with this wire. I'm not going to give you lengths, because you can literally, if you like this project, you can make it any length that you want. I tend to do things a little bit longer, so you know, I have like 14 inches of wire here on each side. I want my little slider bead and this focal to be like just below my collarbone. And then I like a little bit of drama, as you saw from my bracelet. So what I did is I took 2 equal lengths of the fluorite color and I strung those down through, let me turn it this way. I strung those down through the slider bead. And then I took another separate length of the copper colored and I went up through the slider bead, made a little arc, loaded on a few of my seed beads, and then fed it back down through. And that is the start of my necklace. And so now I'm just playing with where I want to pull them together and all of that kind of thing. So I think the way that I'm going to start is by beating up my length that goes around my neck, that goes up and around my neck. So I want to even this out and get this top portion done. And then it will, you know, kind of suggest to me what I want to do down here, because down here I want to do something really creative and loopy. I plan on like looping these back around and attaching them up here and then having the dangles hanging in the loops. I'm really excited about making this project. It's really a cool one. So next thing, this is all of the seed beads that I have left in that beautiful, perfectly matching color. I have to go over here and kind of decide what I want to add. I do like the peach. I also like the gold. I don't know if this is maybe a little bit dark. It's got the copper and the gold in it. Maybe I will just kind of pull out some of those darker browns. Let me just put some out here on the mat. But I think I'm going to go for the richer color. Okay, decision made. So now this is just really simple stringing. I'll start with one side and I'm just going to get some seed beads on, I'm not going to crimp or do anything. I'm just going to get some seed beads on this side. Okay, so I really love that. I'm so happy with that. And I think here is where I'm going to finish with a couple of these little copper seed beads, and I want to intersperse in some of these beautifully matching ones. And here is where I'm going to do a flat crimp. I'm going to just come down with that little crimp bead and grab it with my chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to flatten it. And that's a flat crimp. And then I can leave some exposed beading wire here and just decide how much I want to have exposed, and like maybe right about there. Whoops. And just do another flat crimp. And then if you want to, you can put a a crimp cover over these, but I like the look of them. I like that little architecture. They kind of become a little oblong kind of a shape in the design. So I'm going to continue just like that, seed beading and leaving a little bit of my beautiful colored bead stringing wire showing, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, create a little pattern, and it'll just be a second for you and I'll come back and show you. I am beyond excited to share this with you guys. So I have done both sides with just creating some little blocks of bead patterns with the seed beads kind of taking up some of the length, and then exposing the beading wire with the beautiful color. And there's like little blocks of beading pattern with all of the beads that are happening in my bracelet and earrings, and just so beautiful. This side looks like this. I started off with those little 4 spacers that were on the bead strand and created a pattern there, and then went into all these little like micro patterns. Look at this one, it's so gorgeous. Just a little section of that minty green, and shifting into the seed bead and having the exposed beading wire. And on this end I already did my loop and my final crimp, so my clasp is ready, and I've left the other one open so that I can do that with you. And now down here I'm holding on to everything because down here on the bottom part of the necklace I still have to create that. So what I want to do is push my little slider bar right up to where I have started stringing here. And so just in case you're a little bit lost, here is all this is a separate piece of the 49 strand bead stringing wire that I have strung up through the slider and looped it back down. And now I'm just going to, and before I went back down this side, I just strung on a few of those seed beads. So I'm just going to pull it tight because it is not secured at all. I'm just going to pull it and yeah, get my slider up to the upper part of my necklace so everything is nice and tight like that. And before I crimp, I just want to like even this up, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do on the ends after I get it crimped. So it's pretty even. Okay, so I have just put those little crimp beads that are going to get flat crimped. I just strung one on this side and one on this side. So there is a fluorite and a copper bead stringing wire in each tube, and I'm just going to flat crimp here just to secure my slider. So I just want to make sure that everything here looks good before I do that, because then this won't move anymore. I'm just going to come in and get my plier on that flat crimp and just flatten it. And let me turn so you can see. I'll do it this way and flatten. Okay, so now the upper part of my necklace is completely done, and it is delightful. I have to say, it is so lovely. It's a statement, but it's still rather small scale. I absolutely love it, and I'm just loving this because I do follow the jewelry trends, and you know, some of them I decide to skip, but this year's trends of these mixing the metals and a statement piece and the seashell jewelry, all of that, I just, you know, really worked for me. So I am having a great time with this. So now on this part of the necklace, I am going to do a loopy situation here. I am pretty sure that both of these wires will fit through those seed beads, and they do quite easily because they fit through my other bead stringing, my waxed linen cord or waxed Brazilian cord. I'm so excited about finishing this. I literally can't talk. I'm just going to create like a little section of these seed beads. Easier to do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Count so I can do the same. 4, 7. Perfect. Okay, and now I'm going to draw these together and create another little bead pattern right here. Oh, that is so pretty. I love it. Absolutely beautiful. And here I think I will do a soft flex crimp. Okay, so let's see, nice and secure. And now I am down to the bottom length of my necklace for my final decisions. And what I was thinking to do here is separate these strands and make some loops. So let's see. I would need to put a flat crimp before I do that. Put a flat crimp on 2 of the strands. So my little shell charms are ready for the stringing. And as I said, I really love how beautifully the bead stringing wire colors go with the collection. So I want to leave some of that exposed. And so I think what I'm going to do is thread a few of these onto, let's see, let me separate what I have left. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna thread this back through the opposite little flat crimp and just let it hang out until I get all the loops arranged with beads and exactly what I want to do. And then when I commit to that, I'll smash this little flat crimp bead. But for right now, I'm just going to let them hang out till I decide on these. Okay, I think I'm going to add jump rings to my shells and add those in after I get all of my loops exactly where I want them. So I'm going to bring this through this flat crimp and last one is this little turquoise one. Let me come through here and get it arranged. And maybe I'm going to string, let me see how 3 of these look together. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, I am going to flat crimp just like that on both sides. Okay, now I can trim away and place my seashell charms. You just get in there, be really careful not to cut my loop wires that I want to keep. I have played with all of my dangles and my loopy finish to my necklace, and I just couldn't get happy with the way it was hanging, so I took a lunch break and I decided to get out some oval jump rings. So if you don't know what that looks like, they're oval instead of round, and sometimes they just make things hang a little bit better. So I put an oval jump ring through this cowrie shell and then another oval jump ring around that little connection point there. And I decided to go with just the odd number of the 3 seashells and just all the crazy loops and some of the beading wire exposed. And you know, I just love it. It's a great alternative to a tassel. It gives you a little something different for a drop on a necklace. So you know, tassels are kind of like opera. It seems that people either love it or hate it. There's no in between. So if you're a tassel hater, maybe try a loopy, like funky artistic situation like this. And if you do love tassels but you just use them so much, maybe this can be kind of an update on a tassel, a little contemporary artistic tassel. So my necklace is basically finished. I just need to share with you, anybody that is new to the magical crimping plier, I did save this part of the necklace to show you how that's done. And I'm going to use this copper magnetic clasp and a couple of gold jump rings, because I've just mixed gold and copper throughout the whole piece. And I'm just going to pull out of the camera for 1 second to line up my 2 ends here. What I did is I wanted to have some exposed beading wire on this side of the necklace because I'm alternating all the way through the design, and I have seed beads going all the way to the end on this side. So I'm just going to make a loop here, and I'm going to pull that crimp tube up to the same spot, across from the other one, and leave a little bit of exposed beading wire on the back of my necklace. So let me just, it's not really crucial because it's just the clasp, but I try to get my loops to be the same when I'm doing this. That's pretty good. And so now I'm just going to take that crimping tool. It's only got 1 divot in it, and I'm just going to fit the tube, make sure that it feels like it's right in the center, and close the tool. And so the 4 corners of that tube are now pinched. It kind of looks a little bit like a ravioli. And then I'm going to replace it in the tool in the opposite direction, and again making sure that it's nestled down into that divot, and close again. And then you just then you just open and close and rotate, like you rotate your work. You can rotate your work or the plier. I do it both ways, whatever's easier, depends on the piece, until you just don't feel that the tool is doing anything. And when you take it away, you have this really beautiful little tiny gold bead. And I'm just going to trim as close as I can, and that is done. And I'm going to attach this clasp with 2 little jump rings that I made out of 20 gauge gold wire, craft wire. It has an anti-tarnish coating on it. Is done. Oh my goodness, it's so unique, and so the colors are so fresh and so beautiful. I really love the way it turned out. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. I also have this gorgeous coordinating pair of earrings and this stunning boho beach chic bracelet with the long fringy situation on the end. It is so pretty. And so I hope that you got some inspiration, some ideas on how to use sliders or 4-hole connectors. If you didn't get the box, weren't able to, or just didn't want another box, I hope you picked up a little tidbit of technique in one of these projects or all of these projects, and I am so grateful that you're here, that you chose my video today. If you're interested in shopping the Didi Beads website or trying to get your hands on our collaboration box for next month, if we may do one next month. We're kind of in the planning stages on that one, but she also every 4 to 6 weeks does these fabulous deluxe check bead bundles, and I do an unboxing and a project or two with those for her, and they just really inspire creativity. So in the description box of this video, I will put links to all the different areas of the Didi Beads website for your convenience, and any of my tools or supplies that I used, my Permalac coating that I love so much, and let's see, anything else. When I edit the video, I work really hard on those boxes so that all you have to do is tap to find whatever you might want for your own projects. And so I also would just hope that you'll consider subscribing, giving me a thumbs up, and tapping the bell notification. It really helps to grow the community and, really helps out the channel. So I hope everyone is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, jewelry making friends.